Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. There is one political observation that I want us to make and pay attention to. I listened to Raila Odinga in Bondo when he attended the burial of the five warriors that died during the protest in my county of Siaya. And then the next day, Raila Odinga was in Oduor, shades somewhere in Kisumu. Then again, he flew and also attended another burial in Makueni. Now, you will realize, and remember, those three events happened within a week. And allow me play for you this clip from Makueni. Now, you will realize something that happens when Azimio was actually attending these events, all these burials. The talks were underway. And Azimio picked one person, Kalonzo Musyoka, as the person leading the Azimio front. But in the campaign, in the trail, not in the campaign trail, but in the public engagement, Raila Odinga is looking more aggressive and not sounding like a man who is in ceasefire. He's sounding more like not pursuing the peace that people might actually look like. Not pursuing the peace, or rather this way. What men would expect is that he would be speaking as if he's ending hostilities with Kenya Kwanza. And I'm making this observation because it is also it happened a week after William Ruto spent the whole week in Mount Kenya, hurling insults accompanied by Kimani Ichung'wah and Rigathi Gachagua, hurling all sorts of insults against Raila Odinga, saying, I am done with Raila. And I also need to play for you that one clip by William Ruto.
Mimi nimewaambia wapande juu washuke chini. Waende wapande sijui warudi mbele warudi nyuma. Mambo ya handshake hakuna. Mambo ya nusu mkate hakuna. Nekuo, mnataka tuwakuja kutusumbue? Ya vyeo na viti ya viongozi ilimalizwa na wananchi wakati walipiga kura. Ile kazi ambayo itapatikana saa hii ni kazi ya hawa vijana, ni biashara ya hawa kina mama, tuwapatie wakulima pesa na mbolea, watuzalishie chakula, tupange mambo ya maendeleo, tupange mambo ya uchumi, tuondoe umaskini. Hiyo ndio kazi iko. Mambo ya hawa watu hakuna, ama namna gani? Ile kazi moja tu nimebaki naye ni kutembeza huyu mtu mpaka Bondo aende akae nyumbani. Ndio? Ama namna gani? Si tutamtembeza na atafika nyumbani bila kujua.
And so I played those two clips intentionally. You will realize that Raila Odinga, despite the fact that there are those talks, and those talks are perceived to be a strategy to end hostility, Raila has pulled a tactical card of going combative with Kenya Kwanza. And today I think I was speaking, having some informal talks with some members of this channel. I asked him, Kevin, what do you think, where does this put the talks? Because the talks were perceived to be ceasefire, to end ceasefire. To end the fire, to end the hostilities, so that we take a more diplomatic angle. But Raila Odinga, when speaking in the rallies and when speaking anywhere, he doesn't seem to be caged. He's not a coward. And there is that which people have always realized about Raila, and that is what has made his character, him maintain his take, is that he doesn't play the coward card. Recently, during the devolution conference, he hit directly at Meg Whitman. And of course, on the issue of Meg, I have to take a very, very strict, firm position that he did a rebuttal to Meg after making a reckless and misplaced statement, after the US ambassador made actually a very misplaced statement. But the bottom line here is, the reason why they went for Kalonzo Musyoka is because Kalonzo is more diplomatic, and in fact Kalonzo was the card. I want you to imagine if the person who was there was Opiyo Wandayi, was sitting as the co-chair on the other side of Azimio. You realize that Kalonzo is a bit diplomatic and has a very soft, is more calm and is not very combative. A character that has been trivialized on him, but again, that is Kalonzo for you. So why do you think Raila Odinga has remained firm on the combative edge with Kenya Kwanza? That is very tactical, and I want us to look at that. And allow me explain one thing. I want to explain something called Raila phobics and Raila maniacs. Raila phobics are people who have bought the narrative of Raila is a very scary man, and the scary stereotypes are about Raila, and these Raila phobics are planted actually in central Kenya, only in central Kenya. Then Raila phobics are Raila's followers, people who support Raila as as the soldier, as the fighter, people who know Raila as the fighter, the go-getter, the man that will go for it whether you take it or not. So, to some extent, Kenya Kwanza went to Mount Kenya and told Raila phobics. They planted the Raila phobics there, the Raila phobia there to plant those phobics there. Raila this, Raila that, and that is why I'm taking Raila to Bondo. But on that end, the talks were also perceived as nimemalizana na Raila, as to manage Raila. So what Raila has done is to make sure he remains in the edge, to manage the narrative that talks are suppressing opposition. He has maintained the edge with Raila maniacs. Because Raila is managing government narrative of talks suppressing opposition. And he doesn't want that to come out that way, because that is what Kenya Kwanza has been saying. And having realized that when William Ruto was speaking in the mountain, he already showed non-commitment to ceasefire. He showed no ceasefire. He was calling all Raila sorts of names and all that. But even though politicians, there are two sides of politicians. When politicians speak holding a microphone in public, there are two things he's doing. He's speaking to two cadres of people. One, he's speaking to the public, those people listening. And number two, he's speaking to the media. He wants media to cover that story. That's why you realize that before, they will even ensure that if media is not there, they've taken the photos with their phones, the videos with their phones, and then they share in their social media websites, platforms. So, there is that which is said. But behind closed doors, there is different. And there is a different approach. You will realize that this happens quite often. And so, Raila wants to manage that narrative. And if today, Ruto will walk out of protests, will walk out of those talks, and they will plant their own conjectures to stop those talks, do Raila come out a loser? No. He's been combative. And he has also shown non-interest. He's also showing non-interest those talks because Ruto is doing so. And with that, he has played a different league with what the Kalonzo and the team are doing. He has played a more different league. And that is what he's doing here. That he must maintain his line. Then the second objective of maintaining the combative edge with Kenya Kwanza is he wants to maintain his support base and maintain and consolidate and maintain his support bases. Remember, you'll want to look at it this way. So, talks are going on, but William Ruto is traversing these different parts of this country campaigning for 2027 election. And what he's telling those people is that I am managing Raila, I'm going to send Raila to Bond, I'm doing this and that about Raila. Raila then must have a counter message that his maniacs want to hear. And what his maniacs want to hear is that he's firm. Remember the dominant feeling of Kenyans about the talks is that Raila should not even accept to have those talks in the first place. So that is what the maniacs want to understand. And they will not want to use a situation where Kenya Kwanza will project those talks as Raila's own project, so that they run away with that narrative. Then the third thing is the talks he must continue. The talks must not give Ruto legibility. Or this is what I'm saying, that the outcome of that talk, it's not going to give a handshake. And of course, that's why when I saw government side say Raila want a handshake, I was like, a handshake was just to legitimize William Ruto. And people normally misconstruct the handshake between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. That between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga was not to legitimize, but to give a helping hand. Remember the stories of William Ruto wanted to impeach Uhuru Kenyatta. That's why he needed Raila, because Raila had numbers in the National Assembly. Ruto had already went there and planted proxies and plucked these members of parliament from Jubilee, and could do anything. And that's why he had to rush and look for Raila Odinga. Now, as we speak, what Raila would not want is a situation where those talks are used to legitimize. Because if we push a legitimacy card on William Ruto using those talks, then it means that Azimio la Umoja will be disarmed of political narrative moving forward. Remember, for you to confront or for you to vie against William Ruto successfully, you must not sit with him. You must run the illegitimacy narrative against William Ruto. In the sense that you must tell the voters of illegitimacy of William Ruto, because it is the illegitimacy message that you can accompany with lack of, failure to deem campaign pledges. I've normally looked at the comment section. Some people say, let's regroup and remove this Ruto in power in 2027. I've always seen some people making such comments. It's because that's the message. Raila Odinga do not want the talks to push Ruto legitimacy. And that is why, as they continue, on top in the media, in the headlines, in the newspaper headlines, and the mainstream television bulletins, he must run a counter narrative on William Ruto. Otherwise, the whole thing, by the time the talks will be done, William Ruto shall have secured his second term come the next elections. Lastly, he knows very well that Ruto is not interested in these talks and wants to manage him. So if he wants to manage him, then tactically, that's what he's doing. That I'm also not interested. If you're interested, I will be. If you're not, I will not be. At this day, if someone wakes up and says, I'm trashing this debate, partisan talks, I'm walking away, it's coming to an end, who gonna lose? William Ruto. No one. Because Raila Odinga shall already shown that even me, I'd known very well that he was not interested. And that is why I was bashing him. If today Raila drops the combative edge and becomes a timid politician, the Rigathi Gachagua and Mount Kenya team will rush to the mountain and tell to Geges that we have managed him and chased him from politics. That's my take. I don't know what you think. That was a bit critical, but I really want to hear your feedback on this. Thank you.